BookTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a recent book haul. I got some books, a lot of books, and I want to share them with you. This is going to be brief. Each book I'm going to talk about, I'm excited in some way about, but I don't have too much to say because I have read none of these books yet. So we're not going to prolong this intro, just letting you know. Books, lots of books from lots of different places. Books I bought myself, books that I was sent by the publishers, and books that were gifted to me from awesome people. And the first two books I'm going to mention were gifted to me by an awesome subscriber. I always call her that. Patrice she comments on people's videos. She is a booktuber in that way because she supports booktube, but she doesn't have her own channel. And we've been doing buddy reads together for a few years now. My first buddy read, I think, was with her, where we read a novel. And she sent me two books that I'm really excited about, and I haven't read either of them yet. The first one is Loving by Cheryl Cashin. This is about interracial intimacy in America and the threat to white supremacy. There is a Supreme Court case, of course, that changed how interracial marriage was handled in the United States. And the couple that sued the United States government to allow them to get married were called the Lovings. And there was a movie about their life a few years ago that I watched, and I really enjoyed the movie. And so I wanted to read more about this, but I didn't know there was a book. I didn't know this book existed until Patrice sent it to me, so I was really excited about that. I'm not in an interracial marriage myself, but it's something that I am interested to know more about. And this one is blurbed by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Ibram X. Kendi, Tim Wise, and Daniel Okrent. I don't know who those two last names are, but segue into Ibram X. Kendi's new book, which I'll share with you later. So this is the first book that Patrice sent me, and then she also sent me Tambourines to Glory, a novel by Langston Hughes. I'm familiar with Langston Hughes' poetry, and I love it, but I'd never read one of his novels, and this is a short one. This is 155 pages, and I put this on my TBR for February, so hoping to dive in pretty soon. So these first two books were gifted to me by Patrice. She actually sent them to me in December, and I just forgot to include them in my previous haul video, so I didn't want to not share them with you as well. Other books, well, let's get to the books that I got from publishers. I got Under a White Sky, The Nature of the Future by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's a Pulitzer Prize winner for her book, The Sixth Extinction, and I own a copy of that book. I haven't read it yet. It was on my Nonfiction November TBR, and I just didn't get to it. I was just reading so much more. This one is a lot shorter. This one is just around 200 pages, and this one is blurbed by President Barack Obama and Michiko Kakutani, and Michiko Kakutani wrote Ex Libris, which is under the phone, so I can't show it to you, but I showed you her book in my previous book haul. So Elizabeth Colbert, I hope I didn't say Gilbert before it, because Elizabeth Gilbert is a novelist, but Elizabeth Colbert is a science writer, and she writes about nature, climate change, and how mankind is impacting nature as opposed to the other way around for most of history. Now we are the ones changing our world. And yeah, as I mentioned, blurbed by Barack Obama. Another segue, I included his book in my previous book haul as well. So that starts off books that I got from publishers. I also got this book from the publishers recently, When Stars Rain Down by Angela Jackson Brown. This one is from Thomas Nelson Publishing. Thomas Nelson is a smaller publishing house, and they publish a lot of Christian books, Christian fiction, Christian romance. I get a lot of my Christian books from them through a book tour company called TLC Book Tours, and I get some really great titles from them. When Stars Rain Down is by an African-American author, and this one is historical fiction set in the 1930s in Georgia, and we have a main character, African-American main character who is being pursued by the Ku Klux Klan. Want to read this one pretty soon as well. I think I don't have to review that one until April, but if I could read it in February, that would be great. Other books that I got from publishers, I got my own print copy of Dapper Dan, Made in Harlem, a memoir by Daniel R. Day. I read this one as an electronic version from the publishers last year, and I loved it. If I had actually made a wrap-up of my favorite fiction and nonfiction of 2020, I might still make that video sometime. But if I'd actually made that video, this would have been on my list. I've told everyone who will listen to pick up this book because Daniel R. Day is a wonderful communicator. He talks about his life in a way that just kind of pulls you in. His life is the personalization of the story of Harlem, how his parents came from the South during the Great Migration and had these dreams for themselves, and then they passed on those dreams to their children, and we see how the drug epidemic and the racial problems prevented those dreams from coming true for a long time. And then we see how people endured and brought themselves back up and built themselves up. And this is such a wonderful story, man. Pick this one up if you have an opportunity to. So I got that one from Penguin Random House. I also got 400 Souls by Ibram X. Kendi and Keisha N. Blaine from Penguin Random House. And this is a collection of stories of African Americans over 400-year history in the United States. So it's subtitled A Community History of African America, 1619 to 2019. Ibram X. Kendi is the author of How to Be Anti-Racist and Stamped. And I have a copy of his journal. Be Anti-Racist is the journal, the workbook that accompanies his book about being anti-racist, and I highly recommend that you check out that book. Get the journal if you can, and go through a process of identifying places in your life where you maybe think or do things that would be stereotyping another racial group, and figure out how to change, man. Because it's 2021, we don't have time to be perpetuating that kind of culture anymore. So other books that I got from publishers, I also got from the publishers, Penguin Random House, The Black Book. This one has a foreword and preface by Toni Morrison, and this one is about archiving the history of African Americans. And so there are a lot of newspaper articles, a lot of drawings, a lot of artwork, a lot of just archiving and curating a beautiful, beautiful history, as well as a heartbreaking, terrible history, because there are places here where African American people were being enslaved, disenfranchised, disadvantaged, and a lot of negative things were happening to them. But it also shows the uprising, it shows the upliftment, it shows the resilience. This is showing the history. So I haven't read this one yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to it pretty soon. Other books that I got from the publishers recently, I got Dance Your Dance by Lorianne Gibson. This is 8 Steps to Unleash Your Passion and Live Your Dream, and I'm going to be talking about this one pretty soon. This is, self-help, motivational, inspirational, and this one is also published by Thomas Nelson. And Lorianne Gibson is a choreographer, and I think she has worked with people like Sean Diddy Combs and Alicia Keys because they blurred her book. Yeah, Diddy said, every artist needs a coach, and Lorianne has been my coach, and there's nobody better. So looking forward to seeing what she has to say, because she's not just talking about her work, she's also talking about being inspired and motivated by God, and how her relationship with God has influenced what she does. So I love reading stories like that. Other books that I got from publishers, I got the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. This is a traveler's guide to the people, places, and events that made the movement. I love flipping through books like this. Now, this is a book that I'm not going to read from cover to cover, but there's a lot of information here that I think if I just go through, dip in, dip out, let my interest take me where it will, there are a lot of things that I can learn and things that I might not even know that I want to learn. So it says on the back, the Civil Rights Trail offers a vivid glimpse into the story of Black Americans' fight for freedom and equality. Follow along as this book guides you to the places, people, and events that made the movement. Come. 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 Stop pulling down the things. Okay, come. Come play with your baggie. So this is an idea that I got from YouTube. I've been watching these YouTube mommy bloggers. Okay, here, play with your baggie. No, not the baggie today. Okay. Okay. Want your crayon? Take a crayon. Take one. Good girl. Want to write something? What do you want to write on? Here. Write on something. Good girl. So, yeah, I showed you the U.S. Civil Rights Trail book. You can't take all the crayons, okay? So, yeah, that is the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. Also talking about movement, this is a book that I bought myself. This is Cuba, A New History by Richard Gott. I bought this one in January. I was trying to read it in January. I didn't finish. I'm still reading it. This was to participate in book exploration of a country or a territory that is hosted by Doris every year. And this year, the plan was to read books about Cuba. I read one book so far. This one, not so much. I mentioned it to you in a recent video. So those are all the books that I was gifted. Okay. So that was my segue into books that I bought myself. And these last 4 books came from Book Outlet because, yeah, the book box finally came. It took me a little over 3 weeks for a box to come from Buffalo to New York City, but it came finally and I was very excited to receive it. So you'll see me finally get the box in my weekend vlog that I'm gonna post probably after this video. So here are the 4 books that I bought. I also bought 4 books for her and they're somewhere around. Maybe I'll share them with you at the end of this video as well, because yeah, book haul, right? And she's here for it. So here are my books though. The first book that I bought was Segu by Maurice Conde. You'll know I'm on a Caribbean literature kick, but also I want to read all the books that Maurice Conde has written, and this is one of her most well-known. This one is set in Segu, the Kingdom of Segu, which is in Africa. I'm not sure where. The battle for the soul of Africa has begun is the tagline of this book. The year is 1797 and the Kingdom of Segu is flourishing, fed by the wealth of its noblemen and the power of its warriors. And that's Maurice Conde's picture right there. This one was blurbed by Maya Angelou, who says, Conde's story is rich and colorful and glorious. It sprawls over continents and centuries to find its way into the reader's heart. This is the Penguin edition, and it is a big book. It's over 400 pages, and I wanted to own it. So this will be my 4th read from her, and I think her writing is just so rich with history of African diaspora. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. Okay, I'm gonna hold Mommy's book. The next book that I got was for the book club discussion that I was supposed to be having in January. So I didn't end up getting to read my own copy. but it's fine because now I have it. And I was really excited to get this book because I bought the cheap copy from Book Outlet because I thought the cheap copy was going to be the movie tie-in version. The picture on the website shows the cover that has the actors on the front, and I didn't really want that one, but I said since it was so cheap, I'd just buy it. But this one has the cover that I really wanted. Shows that this is the book that won the Orange Prize. Andrea Levy, yeah, she won the Orange Prize. Then it was called the Orange Prize. Now it's the Women's Prize for Fiction. And this one is the story of a Jamaican woman who leaves Jamaica, goes to England with the high expectations of aristocracy being the common practice, and she's very disappointed with what she finds. So it's about people leaving home and being disappointed or just having crashing realizations in one respect or another. And so yeah, I read this one. So if you want to hear me talk a little bit more about it, you could watch my January reads video. Last two books that I have are to complete my, well, not complete yet. I'm trying to complete my collection of Booker Prize winners. So I didn't own Possession by A.S. Byatt, and that's A.S. Byatt right there. And this, I think, is the first actual romance novel to win the Booker Prize. It tells you right here, it's a romance. And I also bought Ben Oakley's Famished Road, The Famished Road, which is another novel set in Africa. And yeah, this one doesn't have a copy of Ben Oakley's picture, but I read this one before. I just didn't own a copy, and this was really interesting, really imaginative, a really immersive story about storytelling and about, it's kind of magical, but it's also incorporating the legends and the myths of African culture. And this one is set in Nigeria, and I loved it. So these two books are for my Booker Prize collection. The top two shelves right behind me are some of the books that I own that have won the Booker Prize. I still am missing a few titles, so I'm going through and trying to collect all of them and eventually trying to read all of them. That is an ongoing project as well. So longer video than I had hoped, but these are some of the books that I got recently and I wanted to share them with you. So thank you so much for watching this video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. 2 thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to chat with you in the comments as well. Let me know what book you've acquired recently that you were most excited about. For me, it's all of these. And I'm gonna say bye, but if you stick around, I'm also gonna show you the 4 books that I bought for my daughter recently. I bought a lot more books than 4 for her, but the 4 books that came from Book Outlet with my books. There's that one, and that's not one of the new books though. You want to give it to me? Okay, let's read this one when you go take your nap. And this one, and this one, and okay, baby, I think, I don't know where the other one is. So that's 3 of the books that I bought her recently.